The Raiders, it's a tough schedule because it's the Raiders. But when I looked at the Raiders, it's almost like the NFL did not give the Raiders a primetime game because they don't know when Fernando Mendoza is starting. I think they're going to get a primetime game. I think they're going to get one flexed in potentially. So what's interesting is the first game of the year for the Raiders, it's the easiest game on the schedule. It's the Dolphins. It's at home. The Dolphins are going to start up to 8 or 9 rookies they drafted. They have a new coaching staff. It's a long flight. That is the winnable game on the schedule. Now, I've said before, they also face the Jets in Cleveland, but those are on the road. Those are tougher games. And, you start going to Cleveland week 12, late November. It could be snow, and Vegas is an indoor warm weather team. Same with the Jets. Now we're in November. You don't know what the weather is in New York. But the easiest game is Miami, which is bereft of talent, new quarterback, new coach, new system, and 8 guys starting from the draft. So I would start. Nobody wants to see Kirk Cousins start that game. I like Kirk Cousins. Nobody wants to see him start. I would start Fernando Mendoza for like 4 reasons. Number one is he played in 36 college games. I think he started in 36. I don't know, but he played in 36 games. That's a lot of games. Secondly, he went 16-0 against the Big Ten, the best conference, and a gauntlet in the college football playoff. So he faced, the games against Ohio State and Miami combined, there's 15 NFL bodies. The other thing, he's a really sharp, dedicated kid. And again, it's at home. And that matters. It's traveling for business, traveling for sports. It's not the same as home. So, and it's interesting. At the league meetings, I remember there was a quote from Clint Kubiak, who was asked, who's going to start, Kirk Cousins or your rookie, Fernando Mendoza. And if you remember the quote he said, in a perfect world, a rookie watches a mature adult and learns. Is there any more mature 22-year-old in the league than Fernando Mendoza? That guy is wearing turtlenecks and sweaters at a nightclub. He is like the most dedicated, mature, almost to a cringy level guy in the NFL.
All right. Let's get into this. And this is the most complicated part about the Las Vegas Raiders. We still don't know who their official starting quarterback will be, and honestly, I genuinely don't have an answer. In other similar situations, I've had fairly strong opinions. Take the Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold, for instance. I was confident he would start over J.J. McCarthy. A lot of people said, no, he won't, no way. Then J.J. got injured, and I said, look, Sam was always meant to be the starter. They argued, and I asked, do you see how much money they paid Sam Darnold? You don't give that kind of money to a pure backup. That's not how this works. And Kevin O'Connell kept bringing up Sam Darnold in every conversation about J.J. McCarthy. That's not necessarily the case right now with Clint Kubiak. We know Kirk Cousins is definitely a much more established figure. He had a more specific and successful career than Darnold, obviously prior to the Super Bowl win and all that. So bringing Kirk Cousins into this building right now is a very particular move. And I love that they did it. When you watch their schedule release videos and the Step Brothers thing, I just think the Raiders are doing absolutely everything perfectly right now. I'll unpack that more in a moment. But before I jump in, Las Vegas Raiders fans, please don't forget to subscribe and watch the full video. When you do that, viewership skyrockets, subscriber numbers go through the roof. It's not about chasing views or chasing subscribers, it's about creating Las Vegas Raiders content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss, so we can have real, honest, grounded, genuine, unbiased conversations about this team. When you watch the video and subscribe at the same time, it creates such an avalanche effect and goes such a long way. Right now, we are without a shadow of a doubt having some of the best conversations on all of YouTube. When you look at the percentage of comments per view, it's absolutely through the roof compared to major channels out there. So it's just really awesome. I'm trying my best to keep it going. So please do consider subscribing. But what I want to say is this, because Colin is like, oh, nobody wants to see Kirk Cousins start a mess, and Mendoza is so mature and this and that. And here's the thing, the Raiders have given themselves options. Kubiak has changed his tone. 1 minute, if you read between the lines, Kubiak was basically saying, it would be great not to have to start Mendoza. I'd prefer not to do that if I don't need to. I don't want to just throw a rookie in there if he's not 100% ready. but then he had to walk that back a little bit. I forget the exact timeline of where he was, but he pretty much had to shift his stance ever so slightly. I don't know if that was outside pressure or what the story was. I think if Mendoza is fully ready and they're comfortable and confident, and they'll go with him. But if there's any question mark, that's why you brought in Kirk Cousins. And there's tremendous value in sitting and learning behind Kirk Cousins. There really is. There's just tremendous value. And if you believe the Raiders have actually built a good team, then that can also help you win some games early in the season. Then you can go through some growing pains with Mendoza later on without having your entire year be for nothing. So I think the Raiders are in an incredibly fascinating situation. Right now, it's really hard to predict which direction they're going, Mendoza or Kirk Cousins. But what I love is that they've truly given themselves bona fide options so they don't have to force a decision they don't want to make. And if they have to go with Kirk Cousins, it's not like they're completely punting the season. It's not like they're just throwing someone out there and saying, yeah, we'll try with Kyler Murray, or we'll see if Carson Wentz's back holds up. No. You have a quarterback who's obviously older, who's obviously had his injuries, but he knows how to run an offense. He knows how to operate an NFL offense. He knows how to get it done. He knows how to execute. And he understands exactly what Clint Kubiak is looking to do. Kirk Cousins has proven he can execute that. So there can be a lot of momentum and confidence there if that's the direction they choose. That's why I love it. And Colin's talking about the schedule being tough. I mean, listen, you have to play the Chiefs, you have to play the Chargers, you have to play the Broncos. That's tough right off the bat. You have the Dolphins, the Saints, the Bills are definitely a tough game, the Rams are definitely a tough game. You have the Jets. It'll be interesting to see who the 49ers are, everyone seems to have mixed opinions about them. You have to play the Seahawks, obviously a great team and Super Bowl winner. The Cleveland Browns, this is where Colin says, oh, you have to go on the road against the Cleveland Browns. And I'm like, I don't care. It's the Cleveland Browns. I don't care. It's the Cleveland Browns. And he says, oh, it's going to be cold. The Raiders play the Chiefs and the Broncos. I don't know. This isn't the Miami Dolphins necessarily. I don't see the Raiders as a fragile warm weather team where, oh no, it's November and they have to play the Browns. I don't care what that says to me right now. Then they get to play the Arizona Cardinals. Then it's the Tennessee Titans and potentially a battle of young quarterbacks and a battle of new coaching staffs. So do they have a lot of easy low-hanging fruit games? Not necessarily. And like I've told you before, when we look at two of the most successful rookie seasons in recent years, C.J. Stroud with the Texans and Jaden Daniels with the Commanders, both of those paths could have very easily not happened. Literally, it came down to the final throw against the Colts with Gardner Minshew. If Gardner Minshew completes that pass, the Texans don't even make the playoffs. And Jaden Daniels needed a lot of things to happen for him, Hail Marys, Jalen Hurts getting injured, going up against Kenny Pickett, going up against the Bengals whose defense was just giving up touchdown after touchdown on Monday Night Football, going up against the Giants when they didn't even have a kicker. I think that was the game the Giants lost their kicker, so they didn't even have a field goal kicker. A whole collection of things needed to go their way. On the surface right now, you wouldn't say the Raiders have that. Unless you're going up against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes isn't playing yet, that would be step one. The Miami Dolphins, okay, that's a good step one. The Saints, they still haven't figured it out with Tyler Shaw and Kellen Moore. It would be better for the Raiders to face them when they're doing the whole dance of is it Tyler Shaw? Is it Spencer Rattler? That would be one of those things you could say is a benefit. Doesn't seem like that's necessarily going to happen. You're going up against the Jets, great. The 49ers, if they actually do get injured again this year, do you get to play them in a game where Christian McCaffrey is down, Kittle's not back yet, and the wide receiver they just got from the Bucs, I can't think of his name, has a hurt shoulder or hamstring issues and you're not sure if he's playing on Sunday? You'll have to wait and see. So I do think Ave to wait for some of those potential scenarios to unfold. But if they don't get those luxuries, if they don't get those gifts, then yeah, it's a tough season. It's a tough schedule just by virtue of not being able to take advantage of a bad division and then having some of those other harder random games like the Bills, the Seahawks, and the Rams. But I think what's really cool, though, win, lose, or draw, to me it's kind of a perfect scenario, which sounds weird to say. It's kind of perfect because they're either going to actually have a pretty good season, and you'll look up and say, wow, they won 8 or 9 games. And you'll feel absolutely amazing about the future. You'll feel absolutely, positively amazing. You'll say, we finally did it. This is just year 1, and look what we were able to do with a really tough schedule. You'll be like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And of course, if you win even more games and find yourself in the wild card, that's turbocharged. But even if you're on the receiving end of some bad luck, where you're in a bunch of close games or even get rolled, you get rolled by the Rams, you get rolled by the Bills, and people say, oh my gosh, this team just isn't good yet, then okay, you're going to have another great draft position and then it's year 2. Year 2, room to grow. You'll still be able to make moves in the draft. It still continues to set you up for the future. So really, no matter the direction, I think the Raiders are pro-tech. Ted in this. I kept saying as soon as they got Mendoza and Kubiak, it's a 3-year window. The 3-year window starts right now. What are you doing over these next 3 years? And from my viewpoint, no matter which direction this season goes, I still think the roster they've put together, again, it might take time to maximize it and do what they want. So if it doesn't take much time and they can do it right now, victory is expedited. If not, you get the benefit of another great draft order next year. Then when year 2 arrives, Mendoza is a full-time starter, Clint Kubiak is established, etc., you'll be more positioned to hit the ground running in year 2. Let's go. So from my viewpoint, I see it as a win-win no matter how the season actually unfolds. But I'm curious how it all lands for Raiders fans and how a schedule like this looks, because there have definitely been easier schedules I've come across. The Packers and the Lions kind of jump out, especially the Lions schedule. But again, I don't think this schedule is exceptionally hard. The biggest wild card for me ultimately will be, how do you perform within the division? If you split the division, if you go 3-3, which is perfectly possible, then you can come up with another 5 or 6 wins elsewhere. Of course you can. So yeah. I'm excited for the season to start. I'm excited to try to figure out who's actually starting, because that's what makes this so hard. That's really what makes the conversation about the Las Vegas Raiders moving forward so difficult. Because I really don't know. I took pride in having a sense about Sam Darnold. When J.J. McCarthy got injured, I said, guys, Sam Darnold was always going to be the starter. He was always going to be the one starting. People said that wasn't true, and I said it was. That aged pretty well. But this time around, I have no idea. I have no idea right now. No idea. One of the things you can watch for, if Kubiak or maybe even a player is talking about Mendoza and they start bringing up Kirk Cousins, that's a bit of a signal. You'll think, oh, he just brought up Kirk Cousins right now. That's interesting. If you see them talking about Kirk a little bit more and more, randomly bringing him up, or if someone asks, how exciting is Mendoza right now? Are you excited to play with him? And they say, yeah, no, for sure, but also it's great to have Kirk here as well. If they start doing that, it could slowly be a signal that Kirk Cousins might be the starter. But we're still weeks away from getting any real sense of that. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Las Vegas Raiders? How do you feel about the schedule? Who do you think should start, Mendoza or Kirk Cousins? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get into some discussions, get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.